This video is brought to you by ncix.com. Great technology, selection, and service.
Hello everyone, Aiden here with Hardware Canucks, and today we're looking at a mechanical keyboard from Zalman. This is the Zalman K700M, a full-sized board with Cherry MX Red switches and a bunch of built-in options. It comes in with an Msrp of $139.99, putting it in the price range of the Corsair Strafe RGB, so there are some high expectations here, alongside strong competition with already well-established brands in the gaming market. So what does the K700M offer? While it has a decent feature set, all of the functionality is done at the hardware level, so the keyboard is completely driverless. This means you don't have the proprietary software to deal with, but it also means some of the customization isn't as intuitive. The keyboard is built of a solid plastic, and it weighs in at 1.3 kilograms. There's very little flex, and it feels fairly tough. The 1.7 meter cable is nicely braided, and the board has nice grooves for easy wire management. Also on the bottom are the two flip-out feet, and rubber pads for better grip. So the solid build is up to scratch, but is the board rich enough in features to justify the price point? One of the first things to look at is lighting. The K700M uses bright white LEDs, which look great. The lack of RGB is a little disappointing, but there is a range of lighting modes. It has separate adjustment for the constant backlighting and custom modes, with 7 stops of adjustment. You also have various modes with key touch activation, 3 wave modes, individual key lighting, mask mode, demo, and breathing. There are even 6 different EQ modes, which I'll show briefly now. Unless you use your keyboard as party lights, the EQ might not be that useful, and the other thing to consider is there is a microphone in the keyboard for detecting outside volume, so that might not be your thing. The Z machine also has 5 macro keys, with 3 functions. The first 3 keys record up to 140 characters with timings, and are programmed by holding the function key along with the desired action key. The 4th key will do the same function as the first 3, but loop it until manually stopped. You can adjust the speed of the macros with the arrow keys. The 5th key supposedly loops without timings, however I found that it would only register 1 key, thus making it fairly useless. The only other thing I would have liked to see is non-timed, non-looping macros. For video editing, I would love to see complex shortcuts running instantly, and buy-binds for games like CSGO, but alas, that is missing. That aside, macros seem pretty simple and easy to use. For typing, MX Reds personally aren't my favourite switch. I prefer either MX Blues or Browns, but the switch choice does make sense for a gaming board. The light actuation of MX Reds makes quick key presses easy, and the 1000Hz polling rate as well as full N-key rollover over PS2 and USB means that the board is pretty well set out for gaming. Not that having a gaming keyboard helps me much, but the switches and keycaps were good, and being able to disable the Windows key was handy. I don't understand why Zalman went with a full-sized layout for the board though, as the numpad takes valuable mouse space for gaming, and having both hands closer together is better for ergonomics. If this was a productivity-focused keyboard, it would make sense to have a numpad, but for a gaming board, I would have preferred a 60% layout. That aside though, I found that typing and gaming was just as good as on any other MX Red board. The keyboard has a couple of other little knickknacks, with the mask mode I alluded to earlier, which allows for any key to be turned on or off, with the backlight indicating keys currently in use, something which can be handy if you don't want to mash keys in-game. You also have Windows and Control key locks, various media shortcuts, and a double-tap numlock calculator launcher, as well as repeat speed control, which allows the key repeat to be sped up to 100 strokes per second. The last thing to mention is the RGB Z logo with the light meter on the side of the board. It offers typing speed display, volume display, LED brightness control, and macro running speed settings. I haven't found it useful in almost any way though, since for typing speed it's not nearly accurate enough to be useful. It doesn't properly show volume, macro speed doesn't display, and LED brightness is pretty self-evident. The only useful thing is that it flashes red when programming macros, but that could have easily been implemented elsewhere. Even if it worked perfectly, it would still feel gimmicky, and it could easily be removed from the board without any loss. So it seems this keyboard is a fairly simple exterior with quite a bit of under the hood functionality. The big question though, is it worth the $139.99 price tag? Honestly, I would have to say probably not. It's a great board no doubt, but with a really high price point, especially when competing with the likes of Corsair, Razer or Logitech that offer their unique driver characteristics or lighting. This board does everything pretty well, and I'm sure that for some people its unique feature set is appealing, but I think for many that price point is just a little too high, unless you pick one up on sale, and then it should definitely be on your radar. So thank you for watching everyone. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like and comment if you have any questions or feedback. I'm Aiden with Hardware Canucks, make sure to subscribe for more videos, and we'll see you in the next one.